So we're going to do a couple things today. We're going to start by working on just all sorts of quests in Hinterlands, starting off with some of the coastal quests. And then I think one of the things I want to talk about a little bit today is, I haven't really touched on it for a while, but today is the 10th of May. And I think I'd like to touch on a little bit what's going on with COVID-19 infections from my perspective, a little bit of opinion, and hopefully some facts that I'll be discussing. Some things have gone on in the last maybe month or so that I think is worth talking about. Before I get started, I'm trying to decide how to... You know what we can drop? We can drop Slake That Thirst from Tenaris. If we go to Tenaris, we can do the quest. We'll grab Lard Lost His Lunch from here for now. I'd rather have that quest. Which is going to be a tough one, but we might be able to do it. Alright, let's start. We're going to start by killing Gamarita, hopefully. And Snapjaw's Mon. I think they're like 50, 51 elite, or non-elites for the regular Snapjaws. But let's give it a shot and see if we can do it. I think we'll be able to. Okay. So I think... Actually, let me double check this. I think US COVID... and if you're not interested in COVID-19, I'm sorry. I just haven't talked about it recently, and I feel like it's been on my mind a bit, and I kind of would like to discuss it a bit. So these guys are 50 non-elites. Okay, they have a lot of armor. They're going to take a lot to kill, but it should be doable. 1.1. Yeah, okay. Alright, let's get in position. They're neutral, which is nice, except for the big beefy boy Gamarita himself. Some of these are 49. So the nice thing is we can kind of set up in the central location, maybe around here, and start dropping totems. We want stuff that increase their damage per second, probably. And let's start with a 49, a little bit easier for us, and we'll start there and see how it goes before we... Yeah, okay, these guys will be fine. Or we can burn down with spells at least. Because, like, look how little damage. Parry. Dodge. Non-crit, non-crit. Yeah, look how little damage they take from our melee attacks. So it's definitely going to be a spell-focused assault on these heavily armored salt bros. We need to kill 15 of them. It's going to take a while. Okay. We will make this happen, though. You know what I should do before we go any further? I'm going to go back to the town and buy... There we go, nice crit. Buy some food. We don't have any food, almost. Or drinks, rather. Zesty clam meat, cool. But yeah, let's get some beverages. Since we're going to do a lot of spell casting, these guys, most likely we're going to want to drink a lot in between pulls. I guess Lard probably will sell us some stuff. Okay, so COVID-19. Most of my opinions and thoughts are going to be US-centric because it's just, I haven't kept up with everything globally because there's a lot going on. Oh, I didn't send the materials over yet to make those engineering items I was planning to make. Like the death ray and the parachute cloak. I haven't forgotten, just haven't done it yet. Let's browse your goods. What do you got for us, Lard? Oh, we can use Morning Glory Dew now. That's so expensive to purchase it. That feels bad. Let's buy 1 stack of the big, or 5 of the big stuff, and then otherwise we'll have a small amount of the cheaper stuff, or like almost a stack of the cheaper stuff. That'll get us going pretty far drink-wise. Let's do this and this. Should hold us over just fine for these few quests. So we're up to like a little under 1.1 million cases in the US. I think it's like 1.06 million cases of confirmed cases. I think that number, you've probably heard this, but I think that number is underestimated by at least, it's at least 50% of the true number. I wouldn't be surprised if the number of infections is 10 times that. There's a lot of data to suggest that, this is a good spot to set up. A lot of data to suggest that a lot of people are asymptomatic, like a huge number of people, which is both good and bad. It's great that a lot of the infections are not causing any illness or disease in people. It's bad because also it means that those people are very likely, or were at least very likely, spreading it without anyone realizing it. So it's a blessing and a curse in that regard. We bonked this guy to keep him from doing anything for 3 seconds. That's fun. So, okay, so a lot of cases, the number of deaths, oh man, I haven't looked at the death number in a while. It's depressing. It'll hit 80,000 tomorrow. So we'll be at 80,000 deaths in the US tomorrow. We're going up between 1,000 and 2,000 deaths a day right now in the US. It's been that way for a while, and I don't suspect it will drop below that for a while. I think we're bare minimum going to hit 100,000 deaths in the next couple of months. It wouldn't surprise me if this, let's say, wave of the whole thing tops out at around, oh, resist, that's really bad. It's going to be a slow one. I don't have a lot of mana either, unfortunately. I should have maybe waited on this pull. Let's do a mana totem. I think the number of deaths in this first wave is going to be probably closer to 140,000, 130 is what my guess is. There's a lot of data on this, a lot of machine learning approaches that are kind of estimating how bad this is going to get. And yeah, it's a lot of people. It's too many people. I don't want to get super political on it. A lot of people are blaming the U.S. government, specifically Donald Trump and his administration, on all of the deaths. I think that's unrealistic. I think there's pretty much no scenario where there'd be 0 deaths in the U.S. from COVID-19 infections. I don't really see any scenario in which all deaths would have been prevented. I don't think that's was a feasible or realistic goal and I don't think anyone ever expected that to be a goal. Let's drop this. I want to die from this thing, for real. It's level 50. I went in here with not a lot of mana. Probably a mistake. But like, look how slow we punch it. I got some potions. I'll use one of these, I think. I'll get this heal wave off, that'll be fine. I'd rather not use a potion just for the sake of avoiding it, but these are going to take forever to kill these things. Holy cow. I need to definitely drink up, get like full mana before I go into combat with them, otherwise it's going to be horrible. If I get enough for a flame shock here, I can maybe kill this thing. Alright, I think we'll be okay without using a potion. Searing Totem's really pulling some weight here. So, let's just do this. Okay, so there was always going to be deaths. Some deaths. I will say that my impression is that the administration downplayed it severely. It seems like if you look back at some of their public comments, especially from Donald Trump early on, he said a few things like, oh, we have 15 cases, it's going to go down to 0 very soon. It was obvious even then that it was going to not go down to 0. There was really no scenario where that was going to happen because we already knew that people could carry it and be asymptomatic and spread it. If you knew that that's true, that you know that if there's 15 cases reported, that means there's more than that were unreported, which means those people were not quarantined by any means and were not, staying at home for 2 weeks, and that means that they were spreading it. It was, from the get-go, there was no indicator that once 15 people had it in the US, that no one else was going to get it. There's no reason to ever believe that. So, there's several things that I don't really understand why they said what they said, and they don't logically make sense to me. From a scientific or medical standpoint, there's no evidence for a lot of things that were stated early on by the administration. I think some things they did really well that people that they could have done better, but they did pretty well that people don't give them really credit for, especially at the time. A lot of people, I think, were like, oh, that's stupid, was the U.S. government shut down a lot of international flights, especially from Asia. I think it was maybe a mistake to only shut down flights from Asia. I think they should have also shut them down from Europe. I don't really understand why that was done, but that it should have been all international flights, in my opinion, should have been closed immediately. Once they were deciding to close on some, they should have closed all of them. So, a mistake overall, but I will give credit that they shut down those flights, some of the flights, fairly quickly, which was good. Definitely a good thing. Oh my gosh, this guy resisted like 3 of our spell casts already. They just are beefy boys, these Snapjaws. They resist so much. At least, we can kill them pretty fast if we just dump all of our mana into them. But holy cow, beefy boys indeed. So we've gotten 415. Ugh, this is really gross, killing these things. I should have got more Morning Glory Dew. I might go back and get more. I'm burning all my mana basically every time I engage one if I don't want it to take forever. So there's some things they've done well. A lot of things I'd say they've done badly. I think most American governments in the last 20 years would have made some mistakes. I think maybe some things would have been handled better, but I believe none of them would have been flawless. And I think, but I think its administration butchered some things very early on that have definitely led to a lot of people dying, unfortunately. I want to try and hunt down just like the 49 turtles, because these 50 turtles, like, the difference isn't maybe huge, but they're already a pain as is, the turtles, and if we can focus on some slightly easier ones, that'd be nice. Also, we need to find Gamarita, who I think we can solo, but I don't know. I think he's a slightly lower level, but he's an elite. So let's go see if we can find him and maybe kill him. I'm not super optimistic on that. Anyway, so, okay, let's not talk too much about the administration's response necessarily. So what else is going on is, what's annoying me is I see a lot of people talking about, oh, this guy got out of range. I've been seeing a lot of my friends or acquaintances on Facebook posting, but literally, as far as I can tell, a conspiracy theory video suggesting that the pandemic maybe was a planned pandemic. That it was intentional. I don't know if I haven't fully watched the video. I watched big parts of it. We just destroyed this one. Holy cow. And I've read up on the Judy. It was a Dr. Judy something. I forget her last name. That was involved in the video. And she makes a lot of claims in the video. I've done a little bit of research on her. I've never heard of her before this video. I dug into her background. And as much as I can tell, she is legitimately fraudulent. So a lot of people seem to think that it was like a smear campaign to silence her, that the CDC was out to get her because she disagreed with the CDC, and as far as I can tell, I don't believe that to be true at all. I truly believe that she did several unethical things in research. I don't know if I would say she falsified data intentionally, based on what I read, but I do think she made considerable errors in her research conduct that led to results that are not repeatable by other labs. And I saw some other papers from other labs that seemed to try to repeat her work and seemed to be unable to repeat what she said that she had done. That doesn't always necessarily mean immediately the person made up the data intentionally, but it very well, and I've seen this personally, not like me, but I know people that have tried to do experiments, have believed they had a great result, and then published it, and then found out that they made a mistake, and they had to retract their data. That happens. So it's not... I think there are other things that maybe suggest that there's a pattern there that would maybe imply that she is doing some intentional manipulation of data, or kind of what I like to call like looking the other way at really interesting results and just assuming that they're real results when if she had put her own data under more scrutiny, which she should have as a scientist, would have realized that there were things there that don't make sense. That's my impression. But the end result is that I really, even before that video, but with that video also, I really, really do not have any reason to believe that this was a man-made global pandemic, bioterrorism, whatever you want to call it. It just doesn't make sense to me, for so many reasons. There's even a paper, like there's a study that came out maybe a month ago that looked at the virus and tried to determine whether it was man-made or not based on how it was kind of assembled. And by what I mean by assembled, I mean by essentially the genome, what it looks like. And I think that paper also concluded, I read it a bit back, it's been a while, concluded that it was not man-made. Now, a lot of people might just assume that that's just some garbage, that scientists are like, have some agenda and they're pooling together to make this agenda appear to be true. But I don't, no, I don't think it's at all the case. I don't think there's evidence to back up that there's any sort of agenda by scientists. By the way, we're engaging Gamarita now. I don't know if I want to get wrecked by this guy or not, but I think I want to get wrecked by this guy. If we get some good crits in here, it might be okay. I'm gonna use a superior healing potion. I might as well use it now. Just trying to store up my mana a little bit. As soon as my... Oh, I messed up real bad. I mistimed that really badly. Oh, we got so lucky. We got really lucky. I don't know if you saw what happened. He missed an attack. I kind of messed up my my timing quite badly there. That could have been way worse. I don't think we can do this. I don't think we're going to be able to do this. Let's see. What do I want? Maybe. Let's get some fancy stuff here. Like, I did everything I could. I think I'm toast. Oh man, it's so close. Oh, you know what I can do again? I can do this. Flee. Get a big heal off. Come on, heal. Come on, heal. Okay. Let's get back in the stone skin totem. Oh, that was so close. Wow, 1200 experience. Holy cow. I wasn't sure that was going to work, but that kind of worked. Huh. Oh man, Gamarita, that's a scary dude. Let's get a nice screenshot of this turtle. Here, come on, turtle. Let's face me. Nice. Wow. So I used a few things. The grenades are really clutch. Being able to stun him and then back off to bandage or heal was really nice. Using the Earthbind totem to slow him. Well, that was actually the thing. Earthbind ran away, bandaged up. That was really nice. I want to go turn in this quest just because, I don't know, I'm excited about turning it in. What do we even get from it? Just some gold. But sure, let's just turn it in. We'll kill some more snapjaws. I'm going to grab another stack, or another 5-piece quarter stack of the Morning Glory Dew, since that's really nice for drinking up fast after fighting these turtles. We still got 9 more turtles to go, so we're going to be at this for a little bit. But we're going to clear back through all the 49s back like we were just doing. Alright, so I got a little distracted there. Yeah, so my impression is that there's nothing to indicate this is a man-made virus, nor do I have any reason to believe this was released by humans intentionally, even if it was naturally made. Someone on my Facebook posted something suggesting that there's no way, they said, there is no way this is a natural virus because of how fast it mutates. They said that their friend, or like their cousin, has a PhD in animal science and said that it's impossible that it was naturally made because of how fast it evolves. I was like, oh, can you explain that? Like, what? I literally just replied, like, hey, can you explain more about that? Like, what's the rate at which a virus should evolve to be man-made versus naturally made? Like, how would you tell the difference? And she did, unfortunately, one of those replies you kind of would expect. That was very much just like, well, I'm not an expert on it, but and that's where it's like, well, my cousin, who is, said this is the case, and I'm just not an expert, so how am I supposed to, tell you that? Like, okay. So I was like, okay, all right, that's fair. Yeah, I understand you might not know that because you don't have the first-hand knowledge. And so I was like, okay. So here's what happened. So I try not to be one of those people that's like, oh, well, I'm right on social media. Here's why I'm right. Here's why you're wrong, because it's so annoying. But holy cow, I'm getting so tired of seeing all these things that just don't make sense. There's no, I actually have the scientific background. I literally, my lab, we literally study COVID-19 in our lab. So I have firsthand experience studying it. I've read papers on it. I've followed the news on it, which I don't really put a lot of value in, but I've read the science behind it as much as reasonably possible. My coworkers have read the science on it. They've studied the virus. So I'm like, okay. I was like, well, here's the thing. COVID-19, or really, COVID-19 is the infection. So when someone gets an infection, they say, oh, they have a COVID-19 infection, right? The virus itself is SARS-CoV-2. Why is my totem not open? There we go. So I was like, okay, so SARS-CoV-2, unless something's changed recently, it's most closely related to SARS-CoV-1, which has been around for, I think, 15 years now. I forget. So let's say you have that. Okay, so in that regard, we could say it took, what, 10, 15 years for this to mutate and show up in humans? That's not fast at all. For something to mutate, I think they share like 80% of their, like, let's say, genome between each other. SARS-CoV-1 and SARS-CoV-2. 80% of their genome shared is not really anything that's significant in this context, but the point being is that, yeah, you could have a 20% genome change over the course of 10 or 15 years. That's not even remotely surprising to me. Like, not even at all. Not in the littlest. I meant to say not in the least. Okay, so there's some changes in the virus between those in that comparison, sure. Now, if you're saying the virus is mutating now, like SARS-CoV-2, if you're saying that has been mutating since it's first, been discovered in humans 6 months ago, and if your argument is that it's mutating too rapidly, and that means that people are like generating new versions of it and sending them out and people are infecting people, I would also disagree with that. So SARS-CoV-2 is an RNA virus. There are DNA viruses, there are RNA viruses, and then, so let's say there's an RNA virus, and then RNA virus, DNA virus, and you could look at something like a bacteria and like a prokaryote, you could look at a multicellular eukaryote, and you could go up the chain and you could look at, humans at the top, let's say. So I don't necessarily put us at the top in terms of genetic diversity, but let's just, or not genetic diversity, but in terms of a lot of context here, they're not the top. But let's just say, kind of think of that order. You go from an RNA virus to a DNA virus to a prokaryotic bacterium to a eukaryotic bacterium to larger multicellular organisms such as humans. When DNA is, let's say, copied or converted from DNA to RNA, there are many steps along the way that can result in what we call error checking. ERROR, error checking. Error checking is what helps, for example, in humans, it's a function by which it minimizes the chance of us to have a mistake in our DNA or in the RNA or proteins that come from the RNA or the RNA that comes from the DNA. So that error checking is really important. And a lot of times you'll hear about people that have like birth defects and things, and that is essentially what we call like a mistake. I don't know if mistake's really what I would say, but kind of a mistake in the coding of the DNA. I'm trying to simplify this here, but we have this error checking. It's really important. It's vital to the ability of humans to propagate, survive, all these things, right? So it's really valuable. DNA viruses, generally a DNA virus will have a fair amount of error checking, and that would usually, if a DNA virus has error checking, they're going to have, if a DNA virus is error checking, it's less likely that they're going to have mutations of that virus. In a lot of ways, DNA viruses should be easier to develop a vaccine for, because you are really targeting something that doesn't move around as much. It's a DNA virus. It has error checking. It won't mutate as rapidly because it won't make mistakes in its DNA coding, in the replication of the DNA, RNA, all this. However, RNA viruses, such as SARS-CoV-2, don't necessarily have any error checking, or will usually have less error checking than you would see in a DNA virus. We're fortunate in that SARS-CoV-2 does have some level of error checking. So in general, I would not expect SARS-CoV-2 to mutate as fast as a lot of RNA viruses, but I would probably assume, and there's still data coming out on this, I would probably assume that SARS-CoV-2 would mutate more rapidly than most DNA viruses. So SARS-CoV-2 should mutate more rapidly than a DNA virus, but less rapidly than maybe the average RNA virus. So it's kind of in the middle, which is a good thing. Sort of. It's kind of in the middle, so it's sort of goodish. But in general, you want viruses to mutate less, in my opinion. So the less it mutates, the easier it is to develop a vaccine for, because the target is one target instead of maybe multiple targets or a moving target. The seasonal flu, like influenza A, for example, tends to be a bit more of a moving target. I don't actually know off the top of my head if that has less air checking. I think it does. I should know this. I think it's an RNA virus too. I'm forgetting all of a sudden if the seasonal flu, if like influenza A has air checking, or if it's an RNA virus. But I think it's an RNA virus with limited air checking. Don't quote me on that because I don't remember all of a sudden. But in the case of SARS-CoV-2, it's an RNA virus. It does have some air checking, but it's not surprising to me that it would be mutating. But how much is it mutating? That's the question. There's already a few studies coming out suggesting that there's more than 30 variations of SARS-CoV-2. That number is very low. That number is, I can tell you internally, that's what we're studying in my lab. We're really someone else in my lab who's like a professor. He's kind of leading this study, and he's definitely leading this study. He's looking at sequencing as many samples from patients of SARS-CoV-2 as possible, and he's got a lot of them that he's sequenced. And preliminary data that's not published yet suggests that there are many, many variations of SARS-CoV-2. Like, I think we're looking at probably more than 100, truthfully, but I think he has evidence of at least like 70 or something like that. So there's a lot of variations of SARS-CoV-2. These variations, though, I think don't vary by more than 30 nucleotides, so they're not... Oh, I don't want to fight Gamarita again. Let's back up. That totem's going to pull him. Time to run. Time to run. Gamarita ate that totem, and then he's like, oh, that ghost wolf looks tasty. But there are many variations of SARS-CoV-2 that are not massive variations among each other, but they are variations nonetheless. And that's not really surprising. It's an RNA virus. So yeah, you would expect there to be variations. So based on what I'm seeing, and based on also I just don't think there's any reason to believe that someone would create, let's say, 50 variations of SARS-CoV-2. I don't see the logic behind making all those mutations. So to be honest, it's a lot of work, first of all. Second of all, there's a good reason there's no benefit to doing that. Even if from a bioterrorism standpoint, there is a lot of reasons why that would not necessarily matter or do much. But at the end of the day, when I look at all the data that I'm collecting, that we're collecting, not me, but in my lab that we are collecting from papers I'm reading, there are many variations, that's true. But the rate at which they're mutating actually isn't that high. I mean, when you compare it to other viruses, especially other RNA viruses, it's not that high. The mutation rate is not abnormally high, is what I should really clarify here. I would say so admittedly I'm not a virologist, that's not like my major thing up until more recently I've been talking about it more. My impression is that it is not mutating at a rate that is faster by any means than other RNA viruses. I do not think that's true at all. I do not think it's mutating faster by any means. It's more so than some viruses, sure, especially DNA viruses I mentioned, but compared to other RNA viruses, I don't think it is mutating faster. There will be more papers coming out, I'm sure, from other labs that will look at that more closely and more, let's say, statistically. Like, I'm just kind of qualitatively talking about it right now, but there will be... Oh, we got some boots, 15 Spirit 4 Agility. But there will be some quantitative results that will come out from other labs, I'm very sure. And I know there's a paper in progress in my lab that will also come out kind of talking about this. So that was one of the biggest things that I've read, is that people suggest that it is a planned pandemic with the rate of mutation being too high to be not man-made. I just don't think it's true. I literally were studying it. We're studying it in our lab, and I don't see the evidence to support that claim at all. I've heard some more far-fetched stories. I've heard stories that this was a virus created by China to undermine the European manufacturing industry, so that China could assert dominance as a global manufacturing leader or something. And I heard something about China sending over 100 delegates to Asia, or to Europe, to spread the virus to Europe. And I'm gonna die here. Come on, and just frost off the land. There we go. Whew, it's close. But okay. I mean, think about the logic of some of these conspiracy theories. What benefit? I mean, literally, what benefit is there to unleashing a global pandemic if your goal is to improve your country's economy? Like, you're destroying the global economy. You are never going to benefit. You're never going to benefit your local economy by destroying the global economy if your local economy already engages in the global economy. Like, if you're a local economy that doesn't really engage outside of that little bubble of, let's say, your city, your neighborhood, your city, your province, maybe your state, then sure, destroy the global economy. It won't probably hurt you that much if you're in a really tight bubble. But I can't think of very many places outside of essentially basically isolated tribes, literally isolated tribes in like South America or Africa that are really a purely local economy. Because most every economy in the world, even if they don't really sell stuff to other people, purchase from other regions, you know? So it just, I can't see anyone being dumb enough to say, oh yeah, let's destroy the global economy so that we can become better as an economy. Like, there's nothing in there that makes sense to me about that. So I just cannot believe any of the conspiracy theories that suggest it was planned in order to benefit some specific economy. I just can't. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's too short-sighted. And anyone that has the resources, like literally anyone that has the resources to create this virus and then unleash it, has to be smart enough to understand the ramifications of a global pandemic, right? Like, there's many studies. There's many examples. You can go to Wikipedia and read about the Spanish influenza. Like, it's not, you don't need to like do some deep dive. It's right there. It's a catastrophic thing that doesn't make sense to me. So I just really can't believe that it was a planned thing. It's too dumb. It's just too stupid. Literally, it's just so stupid. And so my impression, if you want my summary, and I'm going to stop this topic soon now, but if you want my true, oh, I got one more thing I want to say. If you want my true summary of the whole thing, I think it was not man-made. I think it definitely, I don't know if it came from a bat. I think that most of the evidence suggests it came from a bat. So I think it did come from an animal. It was like a zoonotic transmission. There's many examples of that transmission. So that's another thing I've read, is that people say that it couldn't have come from a bat. They don't really say why. They just say it doesn't make sense or it's impossible. But no, there's many viruses that have been shown to come from either like animal contamination, like you get bit by an animal, you touch some animal poop and get it in your system somehow, you eat an animal that's infected. Many examples of this in history. It's not a novel idea. It's not by any means an impossible thing. It is very, very possible. So like, I really, sorry, I got lost a little bit here in my train of thought. There's no reason to believe it can't come from a bat. The evidence suggests it came from a bat. I believe that evidence based on what I've read. I don't really have any reason to question. I mean, I question it. I question all things, right? Like when I read something in a paper, if I'm like, this doesn't really make sense, then I try and dig a little bit deeper, try to find another paper to corroborate it. look at the methods in that paper, try to understand how they did what they did to maybe get the result that they have. But everything I've read, so I mean, I question it, right? Like just I do anything I read in science. The end result is that I'm pretty confident that it came from an animal that was infected with some virus that had mutated enough that became pathogenic in humans, and now we know it as SARS-CoV-2. Before I wrap up this conversation, I want to try and do one quest here that's probably going to wreck us. Is the Lard's lunch quest? What do I want to drop here? I guess I want Stoneclaw immediately. These are like 47s that drop here. I don't think they're elites, but it's a tough quest, Lard's lunch. I don't know if we can do it. I want to give it a shot. Let me drink up. We got a heal potion, mana potions. Let's get our Rumsey Rum out. I think I might want a shield and sword here. What's my one-handed dagger skill at? I haven't used it in a while. 224. Okay, it's about the same as this. Okay, let's do shield and sword. I think I do want this. Like I want a totem up, and I think I want. This I want to drink real fast. Get some of the totem use out of it, I think. It'll be like 5 to 10 seconds of that totem, but it'll be a little bit of damage. It's worth it, I think. Oh, maybe it's not so bad. I could have sworn there were going to be more mobs here. Oh, I want Stone Skin Totem. Let's get maybe a Taunt Totem out. I want to Taunt Totem pull some aggro for a little bit. These guys have a lot of health, holy cow. I'm trying to burn this one down, because I think if you loot just one of them, you get the quest item you need. Perfect. Earthbind, go. Alright, let's get out of here. Yeah. It's a little bit scary, right? Because there's like 3 of those guys, and they hit pretty hard. They have a lot of health. I mean, I was using my one-hander, but it worked out. We killed one, we burned him down. If I had remembered that they just needed to kill one of them, I may have actually just used my two-hander and just beat down that one real fast, but this worked out. It's fine. Okay. So one of the last things I want to say, besides that I have evidence suggests, and I believe this evidence, that it was transferred from a bat. That may change. It wouldn't surprise me if they end up finding it wasn't from a bat, but because I think it's still kind of preliminary. Like, there's a lot of evidence for it, but there's still a lot of ongoing studies, a lot. And it may have come from a different animal, but my speculation, my belief is that it came from a bat. Yeah, that's been that way for months. That evidence has been kind of mounting up that it's from a bat, but I haven't kept up on that specific aspect of SARS-CoV-2 in the last couple months, so I don't know if there's been new data, but the last thing I had read was suggesting it was a bat. It might be outdated, but I believe that's true still. So finally, the last thing I want to talk about is the stay-at-home orders, at least in the US. It's kind of a mess. The whole thing's a mess, because, like, I've talked about this a few episodes back, but I get it. From, like, an economic standpoint, it's crushing. It's absolutely crushing to have everyone at home. I mean, it truly is. And that sucks. It sucks a lot. At the same time, in the long run, I think it's more crushing if we hadn't had those orders, because we've had a lot of deaths in the U.S. as is. It would have been a lot worse. It would have been significantly worse. I'm talking like at least twice as many deaths, if not log scale higher deaths, had we not stayed at home. But I see a lot of states, a lot of provinces or regions are starting to loosen up on those. I think that, I mean, I get it, but I really worry about that. I'm really, really worried about it. Like, I'm legitimately, not like losing sleep worried, because what am I going to do about it? It's out of my control. But man, I urge you, if you can, to stay at home as much as you can. Wear a mask if you go out anywhere, to try and prevent the spread from you to other people. There's so many things that worry me about the whole thing. My guess is that we're going to have another wave of this within 2 months. Like we're seeing cases go down slowly, deaths per day going down slowly. and we're still seeing 1,500 people dying a day. It's not nothing. It's a lot of people. 9/11, we had, what, 3,000 people die on the day of 9/11. We're getting that every other day, basically, in total deaths, on top of the regular number of deaths we have from seasonal flu, which this is not flu, just to be clear what I'm saying. Like, we have seasonal flu people are dying from, I think it's starting to go down now. We're so far into the season, but we're seeing a lot of deaths from COVID-19 infections. And I have friends, infectious disease doctors that work in hospitals, and they treat patients with it. My wife treats patients that have COVID-19 infections, and like, some of these people are young. They're looking at like 30-year-old people dying from this, or getting super sick from it and surviving, but going through, hell for weeks on a ventilator. It's rough, man. And I really worry about what's going to happen a month or two from now after all these stay-at-home orders have been lifted. It's a lag, so once the orders are lifted, things might still go down for 2 to 4 weeks, but then we'd start seeing them go up again if the virus is still spreading, I don't have any reason to believe that hot temperatures or sunlight are going to do a significant job of destroying the spread, because Australia was getting hit and it was summertime there. It's not like, it was sunny there. They were still getting, rough infections from this whole thing. So, I hope that I'm wrong, but I'm not feeling great about what's going to happen a month or two from now. My advice is to do everything you can to minimize your risk of infection or your risk of spreading it. If you have to go to work because your state lifted stay-at-home orders and your job's putting you back at work, you got to work then. I know people need money, so I get that I don't really know how to handle that economic situation. That's something where the state and federal governments probably needed to step in more than they've already done. But yeah, I'm sincerely worried about that. I don't know what to say. It's gonna suck, but I hope I'm wrong. Legitimately, I would love nothing more than everyone to go back to work, cases to go down to 0 over the next month or two, but there's really no evidence to suggest that will happen. So, best case scenario is that it wanes over the next 6 months, but stay-at-home orders are not gonna help with dropping that number down at all, or the lifting of stay-at-home orders is not going to help with that at all. So, I don't know. Anyway, that's enough COVID-19 for me. I was like 40 minutes. I was kind of rambling, but yeah, it's been on my mind. I've been really focused on it in a while, and I kind of want to talk about it, so we'll see. Anyway, all right. Thank you for bearing with me. We're done with that for now. Snapjaw's Mon, we're done with this quest, which is an amazing quest, by the way. Look at this insane rod. This insane fishing pole that Horde get. Plus 25 fishing. That is so good. Nat Pagel's Extreme Angler FC 5000. Almost 5,000 experience and 75 silver. The only rod in the entire game that's better than this one, I believe, is the fishing rod from the Sunday Stranglethorn Vale Fishing Extravaganza tournament. I think it's plus 35. But it's hard to get. It's tough to win that thing. It's really tough, especially on a highly populated server like Grobulus is really high pop. It's really tough. So this is probably the rod I will have and use for the rest of this character's lifespan. Now we're going to turn in Lard lost his lunch. Lard's so hungry. He takes the huge haunch of meat from you and stuffs it in his face. Just hit the spot. Tanks, little one. Lard, make you special picnic basket for help Lard. So it's kind of a nice picnic basket if I remember right. Mana potion, soft banana bread. Look at this. A two-handed axe with stamina and a one-handed axe with spirit and strength. Are either of those better than what we have? What's our two-handed? This two-handed axe has 38 DPS and 21 stamina. That's a really nice axe though, honestly. Like 21 stamina is a lot of stamina on a two-hander at this level. Pretty decent DPS. It's not better than what we have, but it's pretty decent. What I want to do though is skill up my Terran Icebreaker. That's what I want to do. Let's go vendor off a few things real fast. Should we vendor here? Blacksmithing supply is perfect. I would like to repair. Let's vendor off. What do I want to... Nope, definitely not. Vendoring off my shield. There's like a few junk things we had. Scaling me... Yeah, banana bread. A lot of that fishing rod. Turtle meat's not really worth much. I'm just going to vendor this to clear meat. We got some nice BOEs here though. Probably disenchant these later or sell them, I don't know. I've been disenchanting every BOE I've farmed for the last few months. I've got a huge supply in my bank of, enchanting materials for all levels, which is pretty nice. But I'm getting to a point now where I've got so much that it might just be better to sell or vendors stuff like this off. Like, I just don't need a lot more of enchanting supplies. I've got like a stash that's probably going to last me through most of the rest of Classic for this character and for my druid, so yeah, it's not really necessary at this point. Alright. I'm thinking about what quest I want to do here. I think I want to do something like Avenging the Fallen, I think. Skylord Plume, but then along the way, we'll just kill whatever else we see. Like, we see Savage Albies, we'll kill those. And if we see Silvermane Stalkers, we'll kill those. I think that's what we're going to kind of focus on. Yeah, I think something like this is what I'll probably do. I will probably wrap the episode pretty shortly here. Probably wrap it up pretty shortly. There should be some wolves like right up here. I don't know how much we're going to be able to do with this Terran Icebreaker on these mobs. I think our weapon skill's still too low. I might spend like a minute or two attacking whatever mob I run into first, just to get a little bit of skill ups on it. I want to keep progressing it so I can actually use it eventually. It would be fun to be able to use it. It's so high DPS. It's like an extra 6 DPS. Ooh, I don't want to fight this elite though. If I'm going to skill up a weapon, I don't want to do it on an elite. It's going to beat my brains in, you know. Where are the wolves? There we go. I was like, where are these dang wolves? I need 15 of these stalkers, so skill up, nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to let my guy just kind of whack on stuff a little bit here. I guess I might as well put like stone skin down. Reduce my damage taken rate by 22 per attack. That's pretty significant. I'll let him attack. Let's get up to like 155, and then we'll go back to killing mobs like normal. Depends how much this guy hurts us, maybe. Okay, so while we're doing this, I want to thank all my Patreon supporters, especially Timothy B, Luke D, and Chris S. We also have a new supporter that joined, I think, yesterday, or maybe this morning. John K. Welcome to the Patreon. Thank you for your support. So I appreciate it from everyone, but I've started making the habit of giving a shout out to people that are first time patrons. I always call, I guess, them patrons. Is that the term you call Patreon supporters? I think so. Oh man, I was looking at some footage from like maybe a month ago. How long have I had my head shaved? It couldn't have been. By the way, this is going pretty well. We'll just punch this guy in the head. Mostly missing, but you know, we've got 10 skill ups almost so far. 8 skill ups. That's pretty nice. I want to give a heal to myself. It's sort of boring watching these skill ups, but it kind of gives you a sense of just how this works. Like, if you've never done the skill ups in Classic, it's a boring process. I don't know if Storm Strike actually counts because the yellow damage. I don't know if you can get a skill up from it. I'm not sure. But I'm trying to keep Stone Skin up. I guess, you know what else would be good is Healing Stream. Right? Or like Mana Spring or something, right? I should have one of those two out at least. How much does heal? 10 per... So 5 health a second. It's not bad. This guy hits me for about 40 to 50 every 1 to 2 seconds. My defense is going up. Hey. So I was looking at... Oh, my stone skin dropped. Let's put that back up. So I was looking at a video from like maybe a month ago, and I think it's about when I shaved my head. It was like early... Is that right? Might have been farther back. It might have been March now. Yeah, it might have been in March I shaved my head. It might have been more than a month now. In fact, I have a... somewhere around here I posted it. Let me find it. Where did I post this to? Okay, towards the end of March, like last week of March or so, I shaved my head. I was looking at a video, some footage I recorded before that I haven't published yet for anything. It's like some raid footage on my level 60 druid, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I look so much better with a head shave. Like, I don't know if I had like some sort of like body dysmorphia going on or something before, but like I'm looking at my stuff right now, I'm like, man, I feel like a million times better with my head shaved. I don't know what it is, but like, I think I'm fortunate because I feel like my head's got like a pretty decent shape to it. So, but I don't know, man. I still haven't gotten over it. I'm still getting used to it. But overall, I'm gonna kill this mob now. I'm getting tired of this. Overall, I feel. What am I looking for? My bonk stick. Here we go. Let's bonk him. Bonk him. This guy's gonna get blown up a little bit faster now. Although he's still kind of a. Oh, I don't have my wind fairy weapon on this. There we go. That's better. Now I'll get him. Now I'll bonk him real good. Yeah, it feels great. I don't know. I wish I'd shaved my head earlier. Not like crazy earlier, but yeah, maybe like a couple years earlier, a year earlier would have been nice. But I looked at some of those videos, and also I can't get over how nice it is. I just wake up in the morning and maybe like splash some water on my face, drink some water, brush my teeth, and I'm ready to go. You know, like I'm good. I don't have to like comb my hair or like feel like, oh, my hair looks bad, or it's like, oh, my hair's thinning. It's a windy day out. I'm feeling like anxious in some way or something stupid stuff. Like, nope, not at all. It's nice. Savage Albeast. We need to kill these guys. We have a lot of mobs we have to kill here. We're not going to finish these quests today at all. Like, even not even close. But we will get. We're gonna keep heading west because we need to get to those the Sky Lord we need to find, and along the way we're just gonna kill everything we can kill. So that's basically it. But yeah, I'm feeling good about the head shaving thing. It's nice. So it's really funny. I think I told you this in like a previous episode, but my wife shaved my head the first time, and after she did that, oh, we need Panda come out. What am I doing? After she did that, we got a stamina scroll. That's nice. What is that? 12 stamina? Yeah. Iron deposit? I don't think we can get a skill up on iron deposits anymore, but at this point, I still like the iron itself. If it's nearby, I'll go get it. It's still worthwhile. It still has value. So, worth grabbing. So my wife shaved my head the first time because she wanted to do it just for fun. And she ended up liking it so much. She's shaved my head like 80% of the time since I've first shaved my head. There's been a few times I've done it, but she like enjoys doing it. She says it's kind of like one of those, I don't know how you describe it, but you know, like, I don't know, like you like low if you mow your lawn and you get like, it looks really nice, and like you get it like lined up all good, it's kind of satisfying. Maybe that's just like a boomer thing, but something like that I think for her in some sense. She said it's kind of a satisfying thing. It's kind of fun, and then we like chat while we're doing, you know, it's kind of fun. We spend some time together. But she's been enjoying doing that. So it's like a few days go by and she's like, and she'll just look at me and be like, so you want me to shave your head today? I'm like, sure. Sounds fun. It feels good too. It's like nice. I don't know. It's just what I've been doing is sitting in a chair. Just like, you know, like a chair you'd sit at like any table. We pull it into the bathroom. I sit at the chair and I just kind of like lean my head down onto the countertop, like the sink countertop. I put my arms out, put my head down, and she kind of just like does like the back there, and then I just like sit up, and she does like a little bit on the front here, and that's it. It's like relaxing. I don't know. I love it. I'm all about that. Makes me think like how nice it'd go to like a professional barber. Let my hair grow for like a week. Go to a professional barber. I usually have it shaved, or I shave it every 4 days, the upper end, but preferably every like 2 to 3 days. I think looks best. Not letting it go longer than 3 days. But yeah, so one of these days I want to let it grow for like a week or 10 days, and then like get it like long, you know, like longer than it would look good long, and then go to a professional barber and have them take like a close razor and do it. Oh man, that'd be awesome. I'm psyched. One of these days I'll do that. It just seems a little silly. It's like a waste of money because I can do it myself, or my wife can do it, and it costs us nothing. As we go to a barber, I'm spending $20 minimum. A lot of barbers around here charge like $50. You know, it's a fair amount of money for a haircut that I'm gonna need every 3 to 4 days that I can do myself. Yeah, so I don't know about that, but I was just looking. I was like, I hope I recorded this episode. I did. It's been a long time, but there have been a few episodes where I forgot to hit the record button. Like, I was filming, you know, I was like 50 minutes in, I was like, oh, I'm about to wrap up, and I would go to like press the hotkeys to close the recording, and then I see that it's not recording in the first place. That's like a sinking feeling. It's like, oh man, especially because I really like having like a complete story for this character recorded, and having any significant time where I leveled up or something without recording it feels really bad. My old my vanilla Let's Plays, my private server Let's Plays, there's a few episodes where I'll come in, I'm like, guys, I'm sorry, I forgot to record, or the video crashed, or something went wrong. Those just feel really bad. I don't think it's happened at all in this series, partially because I've got a setup that's better for recording now. I also had some system instability for a while. I was talking about like quite a while back, and my computer kept just like crashing. It was a memory overclock problem. It took me forever to resolve that because it seemed like that overclock had been stable for a long time, but after a BIOS update for my motherboard, it lost a little bit of stability, is what I guess I would say, which I just didn't think would happen for some reason, because it literally was a part of the modifications that BIOS update was supposed to do, was improve memory compatibility and stability. So I didn't even think that would be the problem, but I ended up just like lowering my overclock slightly and it was fine. But that was probably over 6 months ago. Might have been before this series even started at this point, but it was Skylord. That's what I need. Look at that. Beautiful. This thing just like pathed right into us. But I need some mana first. Let's just do a big drink. Let's mark him. Anyway, let's kill this mob and then I'm going to call it a day. Hopefully I'll drop our plume. If he doesn't, that's fine too, but if we kill him, we don't have to go any farther west, which is nice, because I don't really want to go any farther west. The farther west we get, the closer we get to stupid Airy Peak. Not stupid, but Alliance territory. I don't really want to be over there. If I can help it. This mob's not super difficult, and I don't think it's 100% drop rate. I think it's like a 20% drop rate, 25% for some reason. So unfortunately, I might need to hunt out more of these. But I didn't think they were this far east. Oh, nice. Done. Okay, cool. That looks great. We got one quest done. Let's take that off our to-do list. Avenging the Fallen, 1 gold, 40 silver. Probably get like 4,000 experience now. That's sweet. I'm going to move to the side for a moment. What time is it? Oh, it's still early. It's not even 6. Okay, yeah. I'm going to stop here, but I think I'm going to keep going and like start a new episode up right away. Next time, what we'll do is we're going to just keep killing the Stalking the Stalkers quest and the Savage Owl Beast, but now I think we'll head up to here, the Queldino Lodge, kill everything along the way we need. That's where we have to burn the High Veil records, notes, and report. So I think we'll head in that direction. And along that route, we can work on Message to the Wild Hammer. That's the same spot. So we'll probably do all these quests kind of. But anyway, that is all for today. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.